Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Today we have a new set of crazy stories about crazy people for you to enjoy. Subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. And our first story. You want a meeting to discuss our phone account? Okay, let's have a meeting. For the past few years, our business has been receiving telemarketing calls from an offshore call center trying to make appointments for the Optus Business Center. Every time they call, we politely tell them we're not interested and to remove us from their list, and they'd promise not to call us again. You can probably tell by my use of the words every time that having ourselves removed from the list didn't work. It didn't work the first time, it didn't work the 50th time. Offshore are cheap, and they get paid per appointment, so they would get quite aggressive. It was clear that a new strategy needed to be found, as it was taking too long to get them to bugger off. So I began my campaign of malicious compliance / petty revenge. Hi, we're calling from Optus Business Center, and we can save you 40% on your mobile phone bill. Can we come and see you tomorrow at 11 a.m.? You can save me 40% off my mobile bill? That's like 60 grand a month. What? How many phones do you have? 150 or so that I'm responsible for directly, plus a few others. The appointment is quickly confirmed. The next day, a salesman calls me, says he's running early. Can we meet earlier? I refused. Our appointment is at 11 a.m. after all. 11 a.m. rolls around and in he walks. We sit down in reception and go through the greetings. I then ask him if it's possible to make the telemarketing call stop now. He assures me that it is, so I stand up, shake his hand, and thank him for coming in. What? That's it? You could have said that over the phone. I point out that we did, many times, and it didn't work. And I hope that this waste of his time, 40-minute round trip from Homebush to Sydney, would perhaps teach him to mend his ways. Over the past 2 years, they've sent out 5 different reps to see us. They call for meetings, we accept them, shine them on about the value of the account, and they roll in to be greeted by me dressed in a chicken suit, made to wait in our meeting room for 20 minutes before being asked to be removed from the list, being turned away at the door. They sent 2 reps that time. I'm posting this today because it was visit number 6, and it was the best yet. We got a repeat customer. I sat him down in the meeting room and played the video recording of our last meeting. Is that you? Yes, it's me. Didn't I follow up? Did we have a good meeting? I point out that I certainly enjoyed our last meeting and zoom forward in the video to the part where I explained that we didn't have 500 mobile accounts and he needed to please remove us from their list, and you could see his heart break, which it did again. Once he realized that whatever account he thought was being discussed today was not going to be discussed, which we also have on video, so we can go all Inception if or when he shows his face again. And our second story. Call me lazy and question what I do at work all day? Enjoy the extra workload, buddy. I work at a small company that primarily works in e-commerce as sort of a jack of all trades. One of those roles includes me overseeing a lot of advertising budgets through a bunch of different mediums. While I manage these passively on a daily basis, I dive into each of these platforms intensively on a month-to-month basis to see where we can be a little more effective. That data, along with sales, also informs another aspect of my job, which is breaking down unit sales to give my boss a clearer picture when he places reorders. Since we're a company with only a handful of people and most have their own specialized roles, we work as a team in an environment that mostly leaves you mostly responsible for your own time. If something lags behind, it's super obvious as to who's at fault. In my work with advertising and analytics, the situation is a little more opaque as there are ups and downs during weeks, and some of this is fulfilled through other parties. Think FBA on Amazon. My coworker who works in logistics, without a doubt, a solid gold twat. He often drinks when he begins a shift. Think a 40 or a tall boy or 2, and it occasionally causes orders to be misplaced, wrong, or sent to the wrong address. As a treat, sometimes the warehouse will smell faintly of stale beer. On top of this, he's entitled and confrontational because he's the only one that does a real man's job, i.e. not primarily computer-based. He doesn't like the fact that I have a flexible schedule wherein I can arrive and leave when I please, just so long as the work is done. Because of this confluence of factors, we'll go through phases where I don't interact with him much. at all, over stretches of time that can go through months. He's kept around because it's not easy to find someone who's familiar with specific logistic platforms and can take over the job on day one. And if it happened, it would require me switching my job duties almost entirely to shipping to keep up with the demand. Still, with the work required, and in combination with the fact that a good chunk of this is third-party fulfilled, he got to enjoy a decent amount of downtime. And there were days when an hour-long phone call or 2-hour lunch or coming in for a half a day wasn't that uncommon. Earlier this year, we had a semi-trailer full of product come in that I helped him unload along with the rest of the team. Extra hands were welcome, but not entirely necessary. I came in on a day where I wasn't in a great mood. During the unloading, he chided me for being slow and told me to pick up the pace. "Put your back in it, bro." After years of snide comments like this and just being generally fed up with this crap, I wasn't having it today. "Sorry, dude. I haven't had my morning beers to give me that extra pep in my step." "The F did you just say? You want to effing go, bro?" "F off. Keep your comments to yourself or you can unload the trailer alone. You're a disrespectful crap. What the F do you even do here all day locked up in your office? Lazy mother effer." Lazy? Oh boy. At this point, my boss told us both to STFU and get back to work. I threw on my headphones and quietly did the rest of the unload without incident. But as I mulled over the exchange, I decided that this slight on me was going to be repaid in full. A few days later, I felt that it was time for a response and decided to move up my reviewing processes for advertising. As part of these duties, I can move a lot of money around. And in fact, after a long review, I decided that we were just spending a little too much money on third-party fulfillment. Maybe I can even scrape a few $100 extra in sales and savings if I move a few more orders in-house. A new module I was working on that would drive sales to our website instead of focusing on other channels? Let's double the budget and finish that up a few weeks ahead of schedule. And because I decided to let curiosity get the best of me, let's move a few $100 from an adequate but middling campaign that used 3P fulfillment and move that towards a different platform that would require us fulfilling the packages in-house. I told my boss that I was going to be experimenting with the advertising budgets a little more than usual to see if I could get some extra business, and warned him sufficiently that it might result in losses or additional money burned to get the data I needed. I have a stellar track record, so he was of course fine with it. Over the next few weeks, the money was slowly moved over to ramp up the experiment. At first, it resulted in a net of about 8 extra orders a day out of a typical day of 70 or 80. A small profit margin was realized, as while a few of these were new orders, some were simply moving the orders from 3P fulfillment to in-house. Fast forward to the present. Months later, and the changes that I've made have been fully realized. There is now, on average, an additional 40 to 60 orders that my coworker now has to manually fulfill by himself due to the shift in advertising budgets. On top of that, it has resulted in a not insignificant amount of money in both savings and profit due to the orders being fulfilled in-house. My boss is pleased and has signaled that a raise is possibly forthcoming. Since the raise is currently unrealized, I'm enjoying my revenge in the meantime wholeheartedly. The downtime I previously mentioned that he enjoyed, that's all gone now. One of the few metrics he has to deal with is getting orders out on time, or it will affect his pay. As a result, beer time has all but disappeared because there just simply isn't enough time in a day, and he now averages about 30 minutes a lunch break instead of the hour he was accustomed to. Half days are now a thing of the past. He now complains fairly regularly to my other coworker that the work just doesn't stop. Far be it from me to gloat. I haven't said crap. I'll let the extra work gloat for me. Don't call me lazy. And our last story. If you hadn't been an a-hole, you might have gotten away with DUI. I just got off a 16-hour shift with a very minimal break. So after a day of eating nothing except a granola bar and string cheese, I decided to swing by a drive-thru with one of my coworkers to grab something to eat before going to bed. I ordered and moved forward, found myself directly behind a massive, shiny pickup truck. I could tell the truck was brand new, and the expiration date on the temporary tag suggested it had just been purchased within the last 3 days. I was sitting there, just chilling, when I hear, "I wish this effing C-word effer wouldn't ride the effing butt of my truck like that." Realizing he was talking about me, my coworker and I both looked up. We were on a slight curve, but there was at least 3.5 feet between my car and his truck, so not even close enough for someone to get mad. With her bitchiness combined with the mild racism, I decided I would try and piss her off. I don't think she realized I could hear. My window was open, but my radio was off, and my coworker and I were sitting in complete silence, exhausted by the day behind us. So I just looked at my coworker, smiled, and started inching closer to her, and closer, and closer. When she noticed I was rolling forward, she started cursing again, yelling at how I'm a bad driver and should be off the road. When I was within a foot of her truck, she started honking, yelling for me to stop. This drew the attention of other drivers in the drive-thru as well as the cashier, who poked her head out of the window to see what all the commotion was about. Each time the line moved up, I would repeat the charade, inching closer and closer to her truck until she started honking and screaming. When she got to the window, I watched as she paid. Then the person in the drive-thru window pointed to a parking spot and asked her to park. When I got to the window, the cashier asked me if the lady had been bothering me, and I just kind of shrugged. So I paid for my food and left. I thought that was the end of it. I just wanted to piss this lady off even more after she called me a racial slur and got mad because I was getting too close to her new truck, even though I wasn't anywhere close to it. But on the way home from my coworker's house, I passed the restaurant again and saw her truck parked in the same parking spot, but this time with 3 police cars surrounding it. Then I saw her in front of the truck doing a field sobriety test. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.